Hey, it's me, MLB. By popular demand, this is your Aizawa one-shot for the week. It's a fluff one, no romance, just something comforting in a way, I guess. I don't know, you decide. So here it is, A Hero's Duty, Aizawa ex-villain female listener. We're unsure of her location, the superintendent said, but she strikes at night and only steals from the wealthy. Robin Hood, Aizawa commented with a bland expression on his face. Exactly, but we don't know what she's doing with the spoils. There's a high chance she's keeping them for herself, but again, we're not sure if this is a true Robin Hood situation. Aizawa nodded and pushed off the desk that he had been leaning against. Thankfully, she only works at night. That's my domain, he commented before leaving the office. She, the person that they were talking about, was a villainess known as Paw Prince, because that was all that was left at the scene of the burglary. She was silent, fast, and undetectable. She was you. You grew up very poor, and as a result witnessed your parents stealing things from time to time when living got tough. They wouldn't steal large-scale items. It was always just a loaf of bread, bottle of milk, packet of biscuits, or a pair of underwear. You know, small items that were considered a necessity. So as you got older, you started to hone your shape-shifting skills and would turn yourself into a cat and find those who had more than enough money to share. Then you'd nick a few items of theirs and sell them for money, then give the money to your now elderly parents or other families that you knew of who were doing it tough. You were hailed a hero to those you helped, and all had been going well until he showed up. It had been late one night in cat form, and as you had jumped from a ledge with a chain of pearls in your mouth, you'd knocked a rusty sheet of iron free from a drain pipe, and it had fallen on you and sliced your leg open. Fearing that you'd be caught if you shifted back into human form, you remained in cat form and took off, leaving the pearls behind as you limped/scampered away down the back alley. As fate would have it, the hero Eraserhead had been working the area and had heard the iron sheet slip and was coming to investigate and found you badly injured. At first you wouldn't let him touch you, but when it looked like he didn't know you weren't a real cat, you let him take you back to his place, and he cared for you for the next 4 days until your leg was looking much better. Then you ran away. Your quirk had held up quite well, but you were feeling very weak afterwards due to holding it in an active state for so long, but in no time you were back up and working again. Although you were all better, you couldn't stop thinking about Eraserhead, his kindness, his rugged good looks, and when you found out that your various thievery had been discovered as coming from the same person, and that same person was a shapeshifter, things got a little bit more dicey, especially when Eraserhead was the hero who had said that he would find out who it was and put them behind bars. Great, you thought, while you sat in cat form on the roof of one of the rich houses. If he does see me again, and I'm in the middle of stealing, that could be the end. I'd like to see him again, but it's too risky. You washed a paw while you waited until all was silent below in the bedroom. Then you crept to the gutter and peered over. Just a little hop, skip and a jump, and I'll be in and out of this place before anyone can even snore. You braced to jump, but suddenly felt eyes on you and stopped to look around, your tail twitching nervously. You thought, as you stared into the dark spaces on one of the houses nearby. No one that I can see. Must just be a little bit paranoid. But it wasn't paranoia. There were definitely a pair of eyes watching you. A pair of hero eyes. A pair of eraser hero eyes. He kept motionless as you dropped down onto the balcony of the house and slipped around to the side to a window that was open. Then, as you dropped inside, he made his move to get a little closer. The couple that you had chosen to rob recently had been announced as one of the richest in the country. This had all been planted by the police, of course, in the hopes that you would see the news article and make them your next target, which you had done. You hated that they had flaunted their wealth like that, so decided to take them down a peg or two. You slipped across their bedroom floor like a gentle breeze and snuck into the closet where there was a jewellery box sitting with the lid open. Ha! Looks like wealthy doesn't always equate to brains, you thought as you bit down lightly onto a diamond ring and plucked it from the hold. Thanks. I'll be taking this now. See you on the news tomorrow when you're crying about having your ring stolen. And as swiftly as you had entered the house, you left, jumping lightly down from ledge to ledge until you landed in the backyard and raced off across the lawn to the backyard fence that you knew led to an alleyway beyond. You were up and over that back fence in the blink of an eye. Then all of a sudden your body felt tingly as you were forced back into human form. This mid-air transformation caused you to rotate forwards, and you barrel rolled into some nearby garbage bins and came to a screaming halt. Before you even knew what was going on, tight binds wrapped around your arms, body and legs, and your captor was standing over you with one foot on your shoulder. In a panic, you looked up into the glowing red eyes of Eraserhead, and your heart nearly stopped beating. Eraserhead, you stammered up at him. You couldn't get away with it forever, he said lowly, his eyes still glowing and hair still on end. You tried to wriggle a little, but the binds only tightened. Why? He asked darkly. Why do you do this? Suddenly he pulled a flashlight from his pocket and shone it down your body to your leg, seeing immediately the now healed gash on your leg that matched the gash that you sustained the time that he had saved you. It's you, he said with surprise, blinking for a split second. It was long enough for you to shift, and you turned into a cat. You threw yourself from the binds and raced down the alleyway. Panicking hard, you tore away from him, running at top speed, but you knew that he would easily be able to disable your quirk at any time, and you braced for the switch back, which happened pretty quickly. You had anticipated it, so the change didn't break your stride and you kept running. Around the corner you ran, and then switched back into cat form, and jumped for the side of the building and the balcony above, barely making it before Aizawa rounded the corner and erased your quirk again, leaving you dangling there, struggling to pull the weight of your human form up. You managed to get up and barely missed his binds as he threw them at your leg to snag you. Then the chase continued up the side of the building as you used the outside stairs to run to the roof. Aizawa, not missing a beat, jumped and swung his way up after you, landing on the roof a split second after you, and had you contained in the binds again and locked under his knee as he kept your quirk disabled. The stress of the situation was starting to agitate your senses, and although you were physically in human form, you let out an unmistakable cat hiss and growled at him from your throat. "Let me go," you yelled. "Why are you doing this?" he asked sharply. "You don't know what it's like to be in my shoes, to have gone through what I've been through, when so many people live in luxury while my family and others rot away in their homes. Where is the justice, hero? Where?" Your sudden emotional speech shook him, and he paused for a second as your words sank in. Below, in the distance, the police sirens could be heard, and you growled into your throat again. "If you take me, and who's going to provide for my family? I hold you responsible." You glared up into his eyes, and he kept his glowing ones on yours. But the police pulled up outside the building, where he had you pinned on the roof, and then suddenly he let you go, and deactivated his quirk. You shapeshifted and disappeared into the night without a further word, and he climbed back down the roof to talk to the police below. You didn't burgle for a week. You didn't know what to do now. He had let you go, but was this a warning? Was he going to come after you still? Unsure, you tried to find a job, but you didn't have any qualifications, so it was pointless really. Food was running low by the end of that week, and you boiled up some rice for your parents, then left the house at midnight, in cat form, to do some necessary work. For some reason you felt like you were being followed, but no matter how you hid and checked to see if someone was tailing you, you didn't see anyone. "Yeah, I'm just being overly paranoid," you thought, as you made your way to the rich end of town. You picked out a house and trotted around it to find an entry point. Then, just before you made your move, your body was forced out of cat form, and Eraserhead stepped around from the shadows. "I thought you might have changed," he commented slowly as he approached you. "Well, I tried to find work, but I know. I've been following you." "Stalker," you huffed, half with amusement. "I like to follow cats in my spare time," he replied without missing a beat. "I wasn't in cat form," he replied. "Makes no difference," he said back to you as he walked right up and handed you a large plastic bag from behind his back. The smell coming from the bag was delicious, and you inhaled deeply. "This will last you and your family a few days. I've left my card in the bottom of the bag for when you need more food. Just call the number. I'll pick up." You looked up at him dubiously as he stepped away. "You're my responsibility now, right? A hero has to look out for everyone," he said as he turned and disappeared into the night. The end! This is the thing with one-shots. I get so caught up writing them that all of a sudden I want to turn them into full-blown stories like this one. But alas, it will have to stay as a one-shot. Unless? No, I'm kidding. Stay tuned for next week's one-shot.